A lot of you feel really puzzled about your breakup, especially about how it's possible for your ex to just stop loving you. In this video, I'll go through a couple of common scenarios to help you understand what may have happened. See if one of these scenarios fits you and your ex. Scenario 1, love slowly faded. When you break it down, any relationship is a combination of experiences that are pleasant, fulfilling, nourishing, and satisfying, and experiences that are unpleasant, draining, or frustrating. There is no perfect relationship, and no relationship without difficult moments. What happens before a separation, divorce, or breakup is that the balance of nourishing and frustrating experiences tilts towards the frustrating side. At the beginning, most relationships consist of 80 to 90% pleasant experiences. But then, with the challenges that life brings, and as time goes by in the relationship, that balance can tilt, and it can tilt towards frustration. And that's what it often does before a separation or breakup. And the thing is, that doesn't happen all at once most of the time. It happens gradually. It can take years or even decades. Conflict accumulates, the couple is less considerate in the way they treat each other. They grow apart, problems weigh them down. And at some point, the ratio is 20% pleasant experiences and 80% difficult moments. And of course, theoretically, there are always ways to redistribute this balance back to a majority of pleasant experiences. The question is, do both partners have the hope that that's possible for them? Do both partners still have energy left for the relationship? And are both partners willing to invest the effort it would take? In this scenario of love slowly fading and eventually leading to a breakup or separation, my theory as to why that can come as a shock to some people and why they can't understand why their partner suddenly doesn't love them anymore is that these are often the partners that lean more towards an avoidant attachment style, which means they're more distant from their own emotions. A person who has disconnected from their emotions or shut them down more can tolerate a negatively tilted balance of experiences in a relationship for longer. They don't feel frustration as intensely as their partner does. To them, the relationship isn't in an alarming zone when it is for their partner. They are not worried because they're not as in touch with the level of frustration that has built. And when their partner says that they want to end the relationship, they're shocked because they weren't in touch with the level of frustration that was there. They'll probably agree that there are some things that would need to be worked on, but they're shocked because never in a million years would they have thought that the relationship was anywhere close to something that would lead to a separation. And I'm not saying it's their fault. This attachment lens can help explain why the same relationship can feel so differently to each partner. It's a tale as old as time to wonder who should have done what earlier. Why didn't the avoidantly leaning partner realize the state of the relationship sooner? Why didn't their partner make them more aware of it more effectively? Often the point when the avoidantly leaning partner realizes how bad things really are is when their partner has somebody new. I don't think getting lost and trying to find out who's to blame for what is helpful to you now, though. It helps to understand your attachment style and how that plays a role in how you show up in relationships. But it's not helpful to beat yourself up and blame yourself for everything, or to try to find a way to blame everything on your partner. A lot of people don't know how to express their needs and frustration and make themselves heard in a way that allows their partner to understand how serious the situation really is. And a lot of people don't know how to turn towards conflict and resolve it, and how to work on restoring the balance that was lost. And often it's a mix of all these difficulties that makes love fade. To sum up scenario 1, love can slowly fade over time, years and decades. In this scenario, your ex didn't suddenly stop loving you, but it happened gradually until the balance of nourishing and frustrating experiences was tilted towards frustration for so long that it only made sense to your ex to initiate the breakup, separation, or divorce. And no major event is necessary for that to happen. It can be the sum of everyday minor instances of frustration that accumulated over the years. Scenario 2, your ex was overwhelmed. Another common scenario is when people get overwhelmed with other areas of life. For example, if they go through a midlife crisis, burnout, a health crisis, a financial crisis. Not everyone has learned to then turn towards their partner and to be able to accept help. It might all be too much for what they're able to hold with their skills and resources. And a breakup might seem like a relief to them. Not because they don't love you anymore, but because in their state of overwhelm and survival mode, that's what seems most helpful to them. Scenario 3, your ex has an avoidant attachment style. In this scenario, love gets pushed aside by fear, and that can actually happen quite suddenly. When someone has an avoidant attachment style, they're conflicted about relationships and commitment. On the one hand, they want to be in a relationship. On the other, they're afraid that it'll limit them in their autonomy and that it will create conflict and hardship. The way this manifests a lot of the time is that the person suddenly pulls away when things start developing into something more serious. So this wouldn't happen if you've already been married for a couple of years. This happens somewhere in the beginning stages of a relationship. And this actually happens especially when things are going well. The growing commitment triggers the avoidance fears, and to cope with these fears, they pull away. They're not pulling away from you specifically, and it doesn't mean that anything was going badly. It means that their fears got too big for them for what they could handle with their skills in that moment, and they didn't know what else to do. Scenario 4, your ex has a disorganized attachment style. This is another scenario in which love gets pushed aside by fear. People who have a disorganized attachment style fear both commitment and abandonment, and that creates a push and pull dynamic in the relationship. The psychological pattern of the disorganized attachment make these people pull their partners in really close to soothe their fear of abandonment, and then after a while, they push their partners away, either because they feel threatened in their independence and just need to feel that they can cope on their own, or because they're scared of abandonment and want to break up as a precaution. If they're not in a relationship, they can't get abandoned. Then after a while, they miss their ex and being in a relationship, and they'll pull their partner, if they're still available, back in close. And that cycle can go on and on. It's the prototypical on-again, off-again relationship. And this cycle, or this back and forth between closeness and distance, could also mean getting into a fight every couple days and then making up again. Also in this scenario, this pushing away happens suddenly, can come out of nowhere. And it doesn't mean that they stop loving you necessarily. It means that they got overwhelmed by their fears, and their feelings for you were as relevant to their decisions in that moment. But it doesn't necessarily mean that those feelings aren't there anymore. If this happens, it will happen right from the beginning stages of a relationship, all throughout the other stages of the relationship, unless the couple or the person does therapy. So these were a couple of scenarios of how and why someone can stop loving their partner or seem to suddenly stop loving them. And if you're up for it, feel welcome to share your story in the comment section. And no matter which of these scenarios is true for you, or if it's a completely different one, before I say goodbye in this video, I want to emphasize that it's really important to separate your sense of self-worth from this breakup or divorce. It's not all on you to begin with. And for the part you did play, that doesn't make you less valuable as a human being. If you're at the very beginning of your breakup or divorce and feeling very shattered, focus on your self-care. And later you can focus on rebuilding your life and reflecting your patterns so that your next partner is somebody who's available, and so that you both know how to keep the spark not only alive, but how to turn it into a strong and healthy fire. Till next time, take care. And remember, this breakup or divorce doesn't contain any information whatsoever about your value as a human being.